Hi, and welcome to Pyramid One World Radio and the Bob Charles Show. Described by bassist Stanley Banks as the closest you will ever find or get to the spirit of Janis Joplin, my guest, Regina Martin, is a powerful blues singer inspired by Aretha Franklin, Joss Stone, and Janis Joplin. She performs regularly with Richard Cannata's Billy Joel Band in New York City and has been featured by Steve Sage in festivals, opening for performers like Jinx Jones, Chris Kane, and the Tommy Castro Band. She was born in San Jose, California. Regina began performing at the age of 3, singing duets with her pianist father. She learned harmonies from her mother, a singing drummer, featured on Ted Mack and the Uncle Floyd Show, which also had a run of 25 years on UHF, cable, and NBC. At 13, Regina caught the attention of country music legend Brenda Lee, who said, "Kid, you're going places." Regina has a presence on stage that stays with you, said triple platinum producer Jim Sabella. Her voice is always full of emotion and control. Regina knows how to command an audience. It's real. It's from the heart. There is no acting or trying to be someone else. There is only one thing I'm feeling in her music and her voice, and that's genuine love for the art of singing to the world. So let me introduce to you and the world a lady that will definitely be trailing all over the singing charts. Regina Martin. Oh yeah, what a way to come in, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, now that's my background for 38 years, 39 years actually, was total music. And going all kinds of crazy now with everything from recording to writing. I was a music writer. So that's where all that stuff comes from. But on the other hand, you, babe, you're huge. I'm serious. I during the day, and then I go out and I have speaking things and that I do, during the day. And I took it out and I took out your video and that in my smartphone. And I'm like this all over the place. I'm like, you got to listen to this. You got to listen to this. Listen to the babe is good. And they're all like, what? What the hell are you talking about? And I said, look at this. Do you know what? Every single one of them came away from the whole thing and said, where do you know her from?
Ta-da. Is that right?
Ta-da. So it was like, whoa, all you have to do, and you got it, all you have to do is catch a little piece, just a little piece of an ear. That's all you need. That's it. Your path is set. You wrote your own history. So, I mean, I'm serious. I mean, it was really, really good. I mean, I was listening to it and I'm like, yeah, I mean, you don't know how many times I played that video.
Sweet Child of Mine.
Oh, yeah. That's my kind of song, right there. It makes me feel.
Thank you. I mean, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to that and sharing it with other people. The most powerful thing you can do nowadays for an independent artist is share their media.
Well, yeah. When you got an album out, you got to definitely throw it over at me.
Yeah, but I think people enjoy hearing songs they know really well, but a different interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And that's really taken off in the last couple of years with groups like Scary Pockets.
Yes.
And several others.
But they're independent too.
In a way, that inspired that video that we made. We made that at Birdland in New York City, and the owner was kind enough to let us use his theater during the day. and Jesus Garcia came in, and I think it's Blackwater Productions, and we made that in less than a few hours. So the fact that it's speaking to people and reaching people, that means the world to me. So thank you for everyone who liked it, and I'm so glad everybody is, that came away from their desk to listen to it. That's pretty big honor. That's the point. If it touches somebody, right? That's really what
That's right.
what it really is all about. And I know we're going to get into more of the business aspect at some point, but in my discussions recently, as long as I can come back to that, no matter how deep the rabbit hole goes of the business, or what the business can be, the music business that is, as long as we can come back to the point, which is that what we're doing, our art, can touch someone else and speak to somebody else. That's really the point. And that's what makes it work.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can definitely stand from that standpoint and go, a long time ago. Hey, what do you say? A long time ago? I mean, seriously, when you go back that far, and that we were in the business, and you know who the other we is.
Yeah, where is she?
She's here. Don't worry.
Okay, all right.
Don't
worry.
On the side, I can see her. But her and I, we actually had to. I mean, the music business was tough. I mean,
it has not changed.
but not yeah, but it got political. Before it was like the mafioso, kind of thing. I'm serious. We went to a place. We had to get the first gig that we did. First, I'm talking your mother, and I'm going to say this now for the world so that they know. Your mother, all right? We put together our first band together. Our first band, a two-piece band that sounded like four people when the band was going. I mean, out of 12, we were so huge. It wasn't. At my first wedding, we played for 2 hours. But I'm serious.
So what I have to ask you, can I interject to ask you a question?
Go ahead.
So you're doing a wedding, so you're doing covers, correct? You're doing top 40?
Oh yeah. Oh God. Let's see. My first wedding was 7 hours long.
So what kind of tunes at that point were you pulling out? Were you doing standards?
Oh,
were you doing rock?
We had standards, but standard, not the kind of standards you would think of. I mean, we were going into like Cretans and a whole bunch of stuff, and
depending on what part of the country you're in, Cretans can be a standard. I learned.
Oh, really? Oh well.
I learned that. Some of their tunes, depending on what part of the country you're in, the standard, because obviously when I say standards, we think jazz standards, right? But in other parts of the world, the standard list changes.
I used to do my way, so hey. But anyway, when we had to do that first gig, the first gig was it was a lounge actually, but it was like a dinner. It was a dinner place because it was a dinner going around. Okay. We had to get ABC cards. So we had to join the musicians union and then get an ABC card, because at the time we weren't old enough to play in a place that served liquor. So we their permission, the union's permission for us and the ABC to go and play at this gig. And it was ridiculous. Cool. At the end of our 4 hours, and that they were they had hats, and they were passing hats around, collecting money to keep us on for another 2 hours.
That's cool.
I mean, it was ridiculous. And I mean, I think of these things and I go back, and I was just talking to your mother, Annette, about when we went to Canada and did the Sheraton Hotel up there. I mean, the things that we had done that we could get away with. I'm serious. We were little beavers, man. We got away with more stuff. And there's a bunch of other adjectives I can use about that one. But all the things that we did, what you're doing, just from what I'm hearing in the video and some of the other things that I've written about you, I've not written, but read about you, it's you're paving your own way to go. I mean, you know what you want to do, you know where you want to go, you know the direction you want to go into. At the time when we started a long time ago, we were in a world that didn't know where you wanted to go. That was pre-Beatles and all that kind of stuff. So it was, it was like whoever was the best one was the best. I
I
mean,
wish that were the case, that it was just based on talent. Um, Out there in the industry, there's too many variables, too many fireworks on the stage now for it to be about talent, and there's no A&R really
yeah,
anymore. So it's interesting hearing you say to me that I know where I'm going when that changes for me. It feels almost like it changes, especially now with pandemic, every day, wondering where I'm going to go and what I'm going to do. I will say that the focus is on digital media and having sort of digital products to cross promote. That's how musicians now have to think that are indie, that they are a brand rather than just a musician, which can take away from the music. So it's a totally different, right?
it gives you a different headset. Like
Yeah, man.
you're
I would love to just play the gigs. There's a guy. I mean, there's several of my of the band members are different. A singer and the drummer typically tend to be more entrepreneurial somehow. I don't know why. We just tend to be really good at marketing ourselves, or feel we have to be. And maybe that's because bassists will be called more often for gigs
Mhm.
than a singer, might be, or a drummer, right? So, but
Well,
with you and mom, wow. I mean, you had it all.
I
You had
was,
it all right
I
there.
was, I was playing bass with my thumb on a 12-string guitar,
Yeah.
and the rest of the chord with the other four fingers, and
Wow.
it was crazy. And we used to do this stuff, and people used to go, "Wow, how'd you do that?" I had no idea. I mean, I was playing when, God, I was like 6 or
Oh,
something.
really? And
Yeah,
what got you into that? What got you
my
playing?
mother, my
Was
mother,
it the
she
Beatles?
like your mother is a singer,
Yeah.
and a drummer. My
Yeah.
mother was a singer.
Oh, okay.
So
What kind of music did she sing primarily?
It
Was it
was
church or?
it was a Catholic choir
Okay, yeah.
that
Yeah.
also was sang for the Pope, and
Oh,
at
okay.
in the World War in the let me say World Fair in 1964 and 65, in the Catholic Pavilion, the
Yeah.
music that you heard when you were in there was my mother's choir.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Huge. It was huge. So I
Okay.
mean, and my aunt was also with my mother singing in the same choir. So I mean, it was like all over the family. None of them that I knew played any instruments or anything. I mean, I was a clarinetist. I was a trombonist all the way through college,
I
and then
played clarinet too. Yeah.
I played with the Jersey Philharmonic band for one of my college years. It was summers actually. I mean, that was one way of going. The other way was like the Elvis and everything else, and that was before that with the guitar. And I said, wait a minute, there's more to a guitar than just the guitar. You can go ring like that, or you could do something a little bit different, and that's where eventually the 12 string came from and everything else.
Okay. But you
So
weren't playing the. Go ahead.
I evolved into what I did, just like
Yeah.
you're doing. Some of
Yeah.
the stuff some of the stuff that I'm hearing in your voice and that is going to go in a direction that you're not going to know which direction it is, but you're going to get there.
Yeah, thank you. You're not the first person that said that. Actually, I have another friend, producer, that said the same thing. He and I recently wrapped a project. We're getting into some sync licensing stuff. He already works in sync licensing. And for
Oh,
the people who don't know what that is, that's how they get music for television, films,
yeah, it's got to be licensed through
commercials.
that.
Hmm?
It's got to be licensed through that agency.
Right, exactly. So there's some middlemen there. So what he does is he writes the music for those entities. And I met him, ready, through Instagram. I was networking on
No
Instagram,
way.
and I met him on Instagram, and we went back and forth for several months, and it's really funny. I hope he calls in and we get to talk, because we started going back and forth for so long through messaging that I thought, this guy ain't for real. He's not serious.
What's his
So I threw it out there. I'm like, so are we going to collab or what? Basically. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And we just wrapped a song, so hopefully that'll hopefully they're going to buy that or whatnot. But it came out really well, and if not, we're going to go ahead and release it. Something you said made me think of that. I don't remember what it was, but nowadays we're doing a little bit of everything and see what catches, especially with pandemic, I think is my point.
Yeah, well, that's going to be over with pretty soon. So.
Oh, you talked about layers. That's what it was. You talked about vocal layers and different directions. There's also since I've had time to finally write and discover and rediscover a love and passion for writing, because I do top line, what they call top line, which is melodies, the lead melody, and I do lyrical writing as well. And I did that for my first original band in California. What I would do is I would scribble poems and ideas into a book I carried everywhere. And when we started doing band rehearsals and they said they wanted to do their own music, then they would show me a progression, a chord progression that they had written, and I would just take out the book and fit the words to whatever they were playing. So in the course of that, I've become, I guess, a better lyricist. And with writing for TV and film productions and top line and writing copy, you start tailoring things to whatever the needs of the client are. So it's going to be interesting to see what the original work does, the new passion project I have of writing my own, and what direction catches and what people are drawn to. I hope I'm not being boring.
No.
By describing all this in great detail.
What you're explaining is exactly what I meant by what I said.
Perfect.
I mean, it's like, all right, let's go one more further, Annette, from my point of view. No matter what you throw on the wall, something definitely is going to stick.
Let's hope so. There's a lot of stuff on the wall.
Hold on. If you like everything you throw at the wall, it just might all stick.
You remember an Odd Couple? Did you ever remember the movie version of the Odd Couple with the spaghetti?
Yep.
And he says he's going to let it hang there. That's kind of what it feels like.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's get to a call or two, because this thing is filling up faster than usual.
Right. Oh, good.
So hang in. Now let me see. Everybody, listen to me very carefully. What I'm going to do is, if I see your name, I'm going to call you by the name. If I see an area code, I'm going to call you by the area code, and you're going to know who you are because there's so many here. So what I'm going to do is, Susie, you're going to stay right where you are because I'm saving you. The first person that's coming up, let me see. Okay. William Martin. William, you're on.
That's me. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear us?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Dad.
Well,
Hi, Dad.
Yeah, I too am a musician. I'm still playing. Thanks to COVID, I'm not. Of course, we all know about that, don't we?
Nobody's playing.
Unless you're in Florida.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming to Florida.
I did nightclubs for 32 years, and that was up to the late 90s. And then my Susie, my now ex-wife, gave me a call one day and said that a community college was looking for musicians.
There you go.
All I needed was and it was for seniors. And at that time, I was caught in between, leaving the club scene. I was doing a little stage production in San Francisco. There was a national production called Tony and Tina's Wedding. And that.
And just to interject with that, Dad, I was hired to do that show about 7 years later, and the show closed. Did you know that?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I was cast in that show, and then the show closed before I got to play.
Oh, geez.
No. I'm sorry to interrupt. So go ahead. You were doing a show in San Francisco.
Yeah. And Susie gave me the lead. That is, she gave me the contact to call the community college. And I earned a bachelor's degree way back in the early 70s in ethnic studies, of all things. And I never used my degree for anything because I always played live music. And I ended up getting the job, and I worked, up until now, was straight since 2001. And up until March of last year, that's what I did. I'd move equipment twice a day and play for various senior things like, convalescent hospitals and that scene. And as far as Regina's singing is concerned, I just emphasized her to listen to everybody she could listen to, and what she was talking about, and what we all should keep in mind is your job is to move the audience. And I was more or less taught some things by a guy that in my first band who told me, if you can't sell yourself from the neck up, there's no point. And that stuck with me all those years. Because, you don't need to jump around and have stage lighting and all that if you can move an audience by yourself.
That's right.
And that's just the way I feel about it.
You could do it. You could do it from a closet.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I've been playing for over 60 years. Never really had the opportunity to, go beyond clubs and doing copy music, but I've been able to make a living at it, which is 99% of the battle in the music business.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm very fortunate. But I just told Regina to listen. Always listen.
That's something. That's what you're saying, and I'm sorry it's coming from me, but I mean I deal with the people in this business. All hold on, everybody in the background, please, please, as quiet as possible.
How'd everything go?
Ladies and gentlemen, shh. Okay. What? Okay. 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 Now, what? Oh my goodness. What I was going to say was all the people that I talk to that are in this business all the time. Do you know what, William? You're absolutely correct, and I was correct too. And when I was just talking to Regina a couple of seconds ago, it's the listening. Yeah. It's the listening more than anything else. You don't have to listen. By the way, you don't have to listen to records or anything else. You don't have to listen to all the music and that's on the radio and everything else. Don't forget, it's today, not yesterday, but today. It's edited, programmed, produced to death. To death.
Yeah,
so,
it's interesting. I'm going to interject something there too. It was interesting that you bring this within 24 hours. I was playing some modern music for radio, and I was playing it for family. And what spoke to them more was the acoustic pieces. Now, there were treatments on the acoustic piece that we're working on, but the more organic, the more touched that generation is. Mm-hmm. But the younger generations are being fed everything.
Yep.
And of course, I hate to say this because I know a young person would be like, no, I'm not. I choose what I want. I was the same way. So there's two sides to look at this. One, there's more information than ever, so you can choose. That's true. But systematically, you're being fed on all those platforms where you're searching for things, whatever the label, the company, the platform would like you to listen to. Right. So as an independent artist, you're constantly trying to find a way to fit in. So my hope is with people like you, and the more things I do like this, and the more songs I put out that are my own, it'll be a lot easier to fall into that niche that you're talking about and finding your own voice. And that's another. There's so many challenges within this, because there's like finding your own voice, putting out your own songs, or putting out any product at all, or should I cover, or what covers do I do? What will speak? What's the target audience? Do I focus on the people that it seems like I reach? It seems like the baby boomers really like what I do. It seems like 40 plus really appreciate what I'm doing. So I'm just trying to understand nowadays with, a penny for each play, or less than a penny, a fraction of a penny for each play through Spotify and all these platforms. I'm just trying to figure out, how do people that would like what I do listen to their music? So, are they on Spotify? Like, Bob, how do you listen to your music typically?
Me?
Yeah, you.
That's an unfair question.
CDs? In the car, what do you like?
No, a lot of most of the stuff is that in the car, and that I have my CDs with the last 30 years on them. So that's a whole nother ballgame.
So this company asked me
when I ride by people with the windows open, right? The guy in the next car will turn around and go,
So that hasn't changed no matter what generation you are. Everybody does that, no matter what age.
Yeah. But, usually the stuff in it that's on YouTube, and
Yeah.
that I'll cruise for hours.
YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's
the
incredibly
song,
helpful.
the background song that you just heard on your promo, and that took an hour and a half to find.
You did it from YouTube?
Yeah, you had to be, yeah. But
Okay.
these
I
are
have friends that create music for those sites that
Yeah.
there's like websites outside of YouTube where you search for royalty free music. I have friends that create music for that stuff. So it's interesting always to hear. So that's what we were saying is there's so many ways to do this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. And so how do you do it? And what is going to be the most effective way for you? Yeah.
Now,
as an artist, I'm talking about. So.
William, last word, William.
Yes. My last word? Oh, okay.
Word.
Dad, can you talk about the difference in the musicians union today as it was then?
Well, primarily for me personally, the musicians union no longer exists. And their scale is too low. I'm talking about where I am. New York is probably different. The thing is, I haven't had any relations with the union since the early 2000s when I was doing the show in San Francisco with Tony and Tina's wedding. And I rejoined the union, and then I just let it fly, let it go away after that. I hustled my own jobs, and that's it. Probably the union. I've been out of touch for a long time when it comes to that. I just try to get gigs, and I'm fortunate enough to do what I love doing. I've been doing it all my life, and yeah. So
you know what it is.
Really,
you know what it is now, William. It's like riding a bike. You never forget about riding a bike. It's the same thing with promoting yourself or getting out there or anything else. You just walk up to somebody and say, "Listen, I got some songs. I'm really, really good. I want to play for your crowd. Are you hiring?"
That's usually the best method.
Just
Still.
win and say it.
Yep, I agree. That's actually the best method now. With all the technology and all the stuff,
I do.
When it comes down to it, asking. Yeah.
Yeah. Your dad
that's how I was able to get to play some of the best clubs in New York. And and what kills me about this, and you can't look in the past here, and this is why it's a scramble to figure out what the next move is. Even after a year, for me, it's just been like, okay, there's so many directions we can go. Take myself outside of the equation. Regina Martin Sings Inc. What's the next move for Regina Martin Sings Inc. outside of, take my personal feelings outside of the equation as a business. Where does it go? But we were going places, man. I mean, we were booked. We were going to play at Iridium. We had another show booked for Birdland. It was a Beatles tribute, which I was really excited about because we had some talent that I'd never worked before that was going to come in. Grammy Award-winning pianist and singer Nicole Zaritis was going to sit in. We had this kid, David Zhang, who was going to play, who's up and coming. We had who else? I hope Paul calls in. Paul Cuffari. Me and him were negotiating, doing maybe some things with Birdland. Anyway, he plays with Wallace Roney. So we were also in talks with Groove, and Groove is one of the only and largest R&B clubs left in the Village. So we were talking to them, and we were pretty much in line to be booked at all the places that I had dreamed about playing, including, Blue Note. So and then the pandemic hit. So I really had faith and confidence that was where we were going. And now how I feel is everybody and their mother who already tours with people like Alicia Keys have been dying to play. So I'm just wondering what's going to happen when because New York, the clubs are still not open.
I know.
Yeah, they're still not, the music clubs are still not open.
But
so,
you were more right. It was like, if you're down here in Florida,
yeah,
no problem. All right, so you got your mask on, that or whatever else, and that, so what, But when you're on stage, you got no mask on.
Yeah. I was down here for December to play some holiday gigs. Met some I couldn't believe how much live music there was. Even I was in Vero Beach in a little town, Miami too. Music everywhere. Clubs you would never expect to have music, and I left because I was afraid I was going to catch COVID. I'm an asthmatic, so I cannot risk that. No one was wearing. I was doing a couple of indoor gigs, and no one was wearing masks. I'm like, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here before I get sick.
You know what? It's funny. It's funny you say that because you're down here in Florida, so you've probably seen this store around. Family Dollar.
Oh yeah, yeah, we have Family Dollar up north. Yeah,
Wait,
not in the city.
I was in shock the other day. I rode by the one that's over here. I'm in Lakeland, so I'm central Florida. I'm in between Orlando and Tampa. So I ride by the store, and there's a two-piece band outside. They got a little generator that's like way down, 50 feet down from them, giving them electricity, and the two of them are playing. And the one's like playing the bongos and everything else, and the other guy's on the guitar, and they're singing. They got mics. I was like, yes. I mean, okay. I stopped the car. No wonder the guy behind me didn't plow into me. I stopped the car. I opened the window and said, yeah, go for it.
One more, and then we'll. So my friend Kevin McLaughlin, who I met through networking on Facebook before I came last time in Florida, and we became friends. He asked me to sit in on his gig, and this is how he described it to me. He said, "You'll probably play this place and know it as the most Florida gig you've ever played in your life." And it was a bait and tackle shop with a bar on a deck on the water.
Right.
And you pull off this highway where you think nothing is except for trees and birds and water. And you pull in, and there's Harleys and a biker crowd and pickup trucks, and it was apparently that's the most Florida gig I've ever played. It was cool. It was fun.
There was a place your mother and I played at. That reminds me very much of what you're talking about. It was called Joint in the Woods. I don't know if it's still there, but it was in New Jersey. And you pull off the highway and you go down this road where there's absolutely nothing. And all of a sudden you go up this hill, and at the top of the hill is this club, a beautiful club on the top of the thing. And we play. It's called the Joint in the Woods, and it was when everybody was doing joints. What a name for a place. And no, everybody on the phone and everything else, I have not gotten high yet in my entire life. I promised I was going to do it when I was 65, but that didn't work. That went by.
Oh, you haven't yet, you're saying?
No,
you moved to California, then you can do it legally.
Yeah, right. That'll be in Florida soon. Okay, so William, you're on the side. Let me get somebody else in here.
Thanks for calling in, Dad.
Janelle, I think you were making noise before. Are you still there?
I sure am.
Janelle, you're here.
Hey, yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Hi.
She's right here. She's saying hi.
Hi, Regina.
Hi.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of watching her. I was in Bureau when she was there around Christmas, and it was outrageous. We went from place to place while she played, and she hooked up with people she didn't know, and she killed it. It was great. A lot of good videos from that trip.
Thank you.
I remember her mom being on Ted Mack's Amateur Hour.
Yeah.
Regina, growing up, her and somebody she played with was rehearsed in our living room, and we had this big plate window, and they would practice, and it was my first real concert. Me and my friends would sit on that, watching them play until it turned dark. It was so much fun. So, and Bob, you played with my sister?
With Susie.
Have I ever met you?
Really? How about that, huh? Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say that. I mean, I knew this little girl one time, and that actually when we first met, and we went to school together, and we did things together in school and everything. But I remember when she played the tops of garbage cans. Yeah, some of these days she'll
still
play
do that in New York.
Yep, I'm serious. And I mean, it was just
still do that in the subways and the squares.
Oh yeah. We used to do. There was. Let me see. Anybody that knows Saddlebrook knows Cambridge Avenue, and I
went to school there.
There you go. And
That was my school.
Okay. What we used to do was we used to go down to the Casbar's, John Casbar's house, and we used to go into. Yeah, see that? I just.
Oh my God.
I just hit a note, and we used to go in the backyard, in the corner of the yard. We used to set up over there, and there were like 4 or 5 or 6 open yards that were just separated by fences. We used to get a huge crowd of people over there. They'd all be outside doing their Sunday barbecues and that or whatever else, and we'd be playing our butts off, while they were doing it and having a ball.
Yeah.
So,
that's so much fun. This original band I was in Antioch that I was telling you about, because I went through a long time where I didn't sing or play music or anything. I thought I wanted to be an actress, which is another story, amongst many other things that I did. I went to Hawaii for a few years in sales, and then I came back and I went to school for sound, and it renewed my want to do live music. I realized that's what I wanted to be. And the original band would do these backyard birthday barbecue, and they were, oh my God, I don't think I'm trying to think if there was other than that gig, those were the most fun gigs I can recall in my life, other than, of course, Birdland or whatever. That was an incredible opportunity as well. But so far, playing in the backyard is probably the most fun. So,
okay.
I think I was 22.
Yeah. I can't wait to tell John. I can't wait to tell Johnny you threw his name out on the radio.
Oh, really? Well, there you go.
We're friends on Facebook with a bunch of other people from Stabrook.
Well, John McLaughlin?
No, John Casbar.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of Michaels in Florida and a lot of Johns in Florida. Everybody from Northeast moved down here in the last couple of years, I'm told.
All right, Janelle, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Stay on the side. Mute whatever you're on. Whatever you're on, put the mute on.
Yeah, I know. I could hear other people talking when you guys were talking.
Yeah, that's next.
I will definitely mute. Thanks for giving me the time, Gina. It was great to hear you.
You too. I'm going to talk to you soon. Amazing. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you.
Okay.
Hi, Regina.
Oh, hi, John. How you doing?
That's John DiPierro, I believe.
Yeah.
Hi, John. How you doing? Regina's right here. Say hi.
Hi, Regina.
Hey, John. How you doing?
We're having a good day.
Okay, good. You're on the radio.
No, you're live. You're all
That's a good day.
I don't know if Susie told you. Anybody remember Bo Diddley?
Yeah, where's Mom? She was going to talk about Bo Diddley. I wanted her to share her story.
I got her.
She played drums with Bo Diddley.
She did, yeah.
Square guitar.
Yeah, he was a friend of mine.
There you go. I tell you what. Let's see. John, hang in there 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Wait, is Susie with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Put her on the phone.
I'm here.
Sue, you there?
Tell them I'm on my own phone.
Oh, she's on her own phone. Yeah. Okay, I can see it. All right, John.
John, go ahead and hang up for now, and have Mom put it on speaker because we've got some other people trying to call in. I think Paul Cuffari wants to call in, and Phineas Roberts is trying to call in as well.
All right, Susie, I got you.
Hey, how's you doing, buddy?
Okie dokie. Okay,
Long time.
Now that we're playing the homing thing here, Annette. What do you think about your daughter and her singing?
Come on. Are you kidding me? I'm so proud of her. I can bust. I mean, wherever she goes, she kills it. Like her Aunt Janel said.
And Janel doesn't realize that that was you in our living room. That was me playing in the living room practicing. And that was, in fact, my mom, she started opening the drapes and the windows and everything because she wanted everybody to hear us. And I remember when I first started playing drums, I was playing in the living room, and she would bring her friends in and say, "You see my living room furniture?" And she'd point to my drums. And eventually they moved me upstairs, and I started playing and practicing upstairs. And then, but that was you and me playing in the living room. That's who Janel saw. She was so little then. You know, well, let's see. She's what? I don't know. I'm trying to think how old she was, because I think she's 4 or 5 years away from Tracy, who was the baby. So I don't know. There were 5 of us.
Hey Sue, don't worry, Susie. Don't worry about ages now. We don't get older. We just get better.
Yeah, you're right. I'm going to be 68 next month. Can you tell?
Ma, you were the first female drummer in your town, though, right? Like in the newspaper, anyway. The first known female drummer, right?
Drummer, vocalist. There was no such thing as a female drummer when I started playing. Nowhere.
There's a shortage. There's a shortage now. There's a shortage now, even.
Sorry.
Who is that? Sorry, they said.
I didn't get that. Did somebody ask me a question?
I said there's not many female vocalists that play drums now, even, Ma.
Well, there's Sheila E., who's
that's one. That's one.
Right.
Out of thousands of musicians. Sorry, I apologize.
Back in the 40s, there was a female drummer. I think her name Florence somebody. She played a whole set of drums. It was sent to me on my phone one day, and I still have it somewhere. She was phenomenal. Hey, String Bean. Oh, I'm sorry, Bob. I said.
Caught. That. Am I allowed to say that's your nickname? Too late. I already did.
And we got at the Vita with the 2 of us.
Yes, we were there 3 times.
Yeah, you remember? No, Inagata DeVita, the drum solo I played with you.
Oh yeah.
And you remember that song? And nobody could believe that just 2 people could put it over the way we did. Yep.
That's why I say we did what we did years ago. I don't see anybody doing it today. We were not only musicians, we were creators. We came out with things that people told us it was impossible, but we did it.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
What did they tell you was impossible?
You remember the club we went to? I don't remember what town it was, but I had a super short haircut that my mom forced on me, okay? And she did, because I wasn't doing anything with my hair, okay? So she told me she was going to have it all cut off, and she did. And anyway, I was wearing a high-roll pink shirt with a crushed velvet cranberry jacket, white crushed velvet pants, and black boots. And we were on a break. And this guy come up to us, and he slaps me on the back, and he says, "You fellas are great." And I just put my head down, and I shook, and you said, "Oh, Sue, I'm so sorry." I said, "No, that's okay. I'll take care of it." And you knew my temper, so you said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Nope, you'll see. I've been thinking about this. I'm going to take care of it. And so the next week you came, I was in navy blue crushed velvet hot pants with a blue bubble zipper top, a white belt, and I had boots up to my knees and nylons. And you came up the sidewalk and you said, "Sue, is that you?" And I said, "In the flesh, baby." And you said, "All right, let's go." Nobody ever knew. Nobody ever said I was a boy again.
Nope. And you know,
and when I was a little girl, I found some of her crop tops, some of her half tops, and I would dress up in them, but they were too small or they were too big, you know, being a little girl, so they looked like regular tops. I had no idea that was her band clothes. She had kept her band clothes.
Yeah, when we used to do like bigger lounges and things like that, I had shirts with like fringes on them, like tuxedo shirts. And so I mean that was that. Now let me go a little bit further here. When you're doing your shows and things, is there, which used to be years ago, is there a dress code?
I'm so glad you asked that, because I was about to launch into this sort of discussion on my own about that. So depending on where it is, of course, I always dress up for a gig, and especially as a front person. We were watching a documentary recently how these cats from the 70s, the funk bands in the 70s, would have, you know, leopard and fur and really dressed to the nines, and how much they resented these 90s hip hop stars that were wearing like Adidas and like snap pants, you know, because that stuff was just like the streets, the hood. So depending on what kind of gig you're doing and where it is going to dictate the dress code. However, there's always that standard. Like, for instance, Ron Carter, all his people always dress in suits. He dresses in, you know, he's fitted, he's tailored. That's jazz, right? If you're doing like, I was doing New York Beer Company once a month, which is 2 doors down from Birdland. And that was our jam band. We called it Jam Sauce. And it was a combination of top 40, classic top 40 slash, what's this called? Jam session. We would jam on these tunes. So then the wardrobe would be more like what you would wear to go out to that club or go to that venue. So if I were to go out on my own, you know, there'd be a heel and there might be like a dress, but it's clean, it's tailored. I always tell my guys, you don't know what to wear, you wear black, and you do not wear sneakers. Do not wear sneakers unless they're like, you know, if it's at New York Beer Company, you might be able to get away with like a sneaker that is a classic or upscale, but it better not look like you're wearing a t-shirt, jeans, and a sneaker, right? You want to, I know Ed in our band, man, Ed could dress, holy cow. Ed, I often would ask him, I would call him and ask him what colors he's going to wear. Because I want to match with Ed, because Ed would put his little pick, you know, he'd put a fro pick in his hair, and he'd have these really tailored shirts with all these designs, but he always just somehow put it together. It was never crazy, and I don't know how he did it, but he was always the best dressed one in the band. So I'd always try to coordinate with him, which is rare to coordinate with a guy in the band what you're going to wear.
talking about the band and things.
Yeah.
I was talking about you.
Me. What do I wear? You see what I wear on social media. That's what I wear. I wear I'm going to say something to the singers that might be listening. You know, it is important. You got to be comfortable. It's important to have room. It's important not to be thinking about your feet, because we always want to look good. So it's smart. What I did was, I have a good friend in New York. Nina is a fantastic stylist on her own. So she took me out and we invested in a boot that had a heel, but it was a black heel, so that you're not in pain from a stiletto. Girls will know what I'm talking about. You know, it might look good, but the point, you have to be comfortable. Because I had a couple stylists dress me for different shows. I was lucky enough to have that happen. And I was in so much pain, I had to sit down on stage, which I don't normally like to do. So What do I wear? I wear things that are considerate of what I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to wear something too short. I'm going to wear a dress, most likely. I'm going to wear something light because for me, I get hot under those lights, you know?
Oh, the lights will fry you.
Fry you. And
Yes.
then my hair, I have this like big bushy hair, and I like to. My girlfriend Nina, I was telling you about, who styles. She's like, you gotta have that hair down. She says it's part of my performance. I'm like, really? Okay. So, but you know, she's a visual person. Stylists are visual people. So for them, they latch on to certain things that speak to them. For her, it's a visual aspect in addition to the music and how it coordinates together. So we would design these concepts of how I'm going to have the hair up, but how am I going to easily get the hair out when I'm doing something big, you know? So things like that. Does that answer the question at all?
I think so. I mean, to me it does, because I mean, like Sue had said, like your mom said, when we started and we were in the band business, there was a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Now, to tell you even more, when we went into when I was in another band, my band Turning Point, which was Light Another Candle, which is all over the place. When I did that song, and that was with the WWF, and we were the band on the other side of the arena, and we were all over the world with that stuff. And when you're looking at 50,000 people like that, you better be dressed right. You better be very, very comfortable, and you better be really, really chilled out before you get there.
Yeah.
And forget alcohol, drugs, and all the rest of that stuff. Anybody that does that stuff, I mean, I don't respect you whatsoever. I mean, we did it. I swear to you, and probably your mother would probably tell you, I liked coffee when I sang. There was always a coffee cup on my amp. Everybody else had, and other bands had beer cans and drinks and everything else.
Right, sure.
On mine, it was always a big, 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 mug of coffee.
I do hot water, about a pound of honey, and
That's
a little like turmeric.
Yeah,
and lemon sometimes. Well, the acidity of the lemon sometimes might be too much, but I definitely have that. I have a thermos.
When you do covers, you wind up 99% of the time somehow, some way going out of your range, somewhere, and all of a sudden it's like
that's so true.
I swear I was up at the high E.
Yeah.
It was like one of those things.
That journey sound.
Uh-huh.
Doing that Steve Perry sound, huh?
Talking about that, let's take a couple of minutes out now before I start into the phones again, okay?
Okay.
Well, let's see what you did.
She's got a smile that, it seems to me, reminds me of childhood memories, where everything was as fresh as the bright blue sky. Now and then when I see her face, it takes me away to that special place. And if I stay too long, I'll probably break down and cry. Yeah. Oh, sweet child of mine. Oh, sweet love of mine.
Oh yeah.
That's Gabe Plotkin on keys.
Oh yeah, everybody's got to clap to this one.
She's got eyes of the bluest skies, as if they thought of rain. And I'd hate to look into your eyes and see 1 ounce of pain. Oh, her hair reminds me of a warm, safe place where, as sunshine, I'd hide her, and I'd pray for the thunder and the rain to quietly pass me by. Oh, 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 sweet child of mine. Oh, sweet love of mine. Oh, hey, sweet child of mine. right. Talk to me again. Where do we go? Say, where I wanna know. I wanna know where do we go? Yeah. Oh, where do we go? Sweet, yeah, 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 yeah. Do we go? I wanna know. I say, where do we go? Oh, yeah. Said, where do we go now? Yeah. Where do we go? Where do we go now? Oh, yeah. Wanna know. Say, where do we go? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Child. I wanna know, child.
Oh yeah. See now, okay. You got it on that one for sure. I tell you, people don't realize that there's so much talent bouncing off the walls all over the world, all over where you are. Energy is energy. Energy doesn't die. And let me tell you something. In the musician, it never ever dies. I'm not going to be around till the end of time, but the energy will be. And all these young musicians that are out there trying, they're plugging at it, they're doing what they got to do. What Regina is doing, she's like a river going in the wrong direction. That's what everybody's looking at her, going in the wrong direction. Why? Because you hear so much garbage on places that you go on the radio. That's why I don't listen to the radio in the car. But the thing is, when you're really a musician, you follow that pattern that it's not. If you went into a radio place right now or a recording place right now, they tend to tell you, well, the trend is, or you have to go in this direction, or this is what's on the radio right now. That's not your life.
Okay.
What we just heard is one heck of a highway you're on. And I would say myself, stay right there. Stay right there, because you'll be all by yourself in a field. It's like the weed in the middle of the middle of the field. You're going to be all by yourself in the middle of that field, and everybody's going to look at that weed. And they're going to. That is beautiful.
Thanks, Bob.
I'm serious.
I know. I'm saying thank you. I'm serious.
Your mom and I were so different that people used to drop. They used to just go, wow, how can you guys do that stuff? I'm serious. Your mother was how can I put it so that people would understand? She was like somebody on too many vitamins. When she played the drums, she was all over the place. Any guy on the drums could not beat her out.
I remember a couple of things. One, watching her on Ted Mack, the fills that she does at like 13 years old are crazy. The fills are insane. They're spot on. And for any 13-year-old now, then whatever, I don't hear many kids that can do that. And when they do, they go, oh my God. First of all, they go, which parent is in music? Which mom didn't have either in music? Because nowadays, if a kid is that talented, that young, then they obviously have some type of influence. And then the other thing about mom I remember is the beginning of Wipeout, and everybody would come and gather around and listen to her play it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Spoons on the cafeteria table. Yeah, she was that good.
Is that right?
Oh man.
Holy cow. Okay.
You would say that though. Let's see who else we can bring in here. There is one
You know,
at
yeah.
area code 901. See Bryant?
Oh yeah.
It's
What's up,
Catherine.
CJ?
Catherine.
Hey,
She's
so
patiently waiting.
work with Regina. It's been really cool, like just getting to know her. And first of all, I just want to shout out to her mom. Like, that's so cool that she was such a trailblazer. And I just think percussionists like have a special mind, like the way they think, the way they can like multitask. It's like amazing. So, and I mean, anyone who can play In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida is like got major respect in my book.
We did pretty good. Yeah.
Man. So I remember like Regina and I were hanging out one time. She like planned this really sweet birthday get together, and like it was amazing and like one of my favorite memories. And later we were hanging out in the car and she was playing some music from her band. And it's just what really amazes me is like the way Regina's breadth of music. Like I remember her pulling up her song list and it was just so many songs. And so I'm just thinking about the time where she got her start, you know, I mean, which was like way sooner than her band when, you know, she was, you know, but it's like, you know, seeing her write music, you know, then and, you know, writing music now. I just want to know, like, what influenced you when you were in the band versus now, and how has performing live, like, influenced that progression?
Wow, that's you know, one of the reasons that I love you is that you always ask very provocative questions, and you I don't know if that's your educational teaching and whatnot background, but you always ask provocative questions. Very book learned human being. But to tie those two things together, so I think you're talking about did I actually show you the music from Last Valhalla, the rock band? See, can you hear me, CJ? I think I lost.
Yeah,
I think I lost her.
And so I could like not echo, but yeah, yeah, you did. You did.
I can't believe I did that. That's so funny.
If I'm wrong.
So what I showed her was Last Valhalla, the band I mentioned earlier, where I would write poetry and take lyrics and write to the progressions. And that band that holds a special place in my heart. So that was more of a totally different thing than I'm doing now. So live music, playing live in New York, inspired me to become a better singer and musician. So my ear has improved tremendously just from being around people that are just so good. And I often say that just playing jam sessions or playing jams or playing gigs in New York or playing with the multitude of talent that's there and educated there from the New School, Berklee School of Music, people come there all the time. I didn't realize that New York was primarily, although this is kind of a duh, that New York was primarily Broadway, cabaret, and jazz. But out of that comes really great technique and really great technique and really great theory, like really adaptation to theory and adapting theory into a new and creative way or process. So over time, from going from being a lead of a rock band and writing top line and lyrics and not really knowing what I was doing and wearing all the hats and the booking and the management aspect, coming to New York, I didn't think it was going to be as hard as it has been because there was so much live music. What that ended up doing was giving me sort of a master's program in performing arts. So even though I'm not as book learned as I'd like to be theory wise, and I'm sure that will come with time, and it already has developed, especially now that I've been writing music for Finneys, for Sync, and other people I know, and adapting music for TV and film and whatnot. Then you learn as you go. So they all tie together in the sense that you're constantly learning, you're constantly evolving, and now I realize it's sort of what Bob's talking about, your own voice and figuring out what that is. And you get to a point where you stop copying what you've heard, because a lot of singers copy what they've heard. Musicians copy what they heard too, especially guitarists and instruments that are close to the vocal instrument, like a saxophone is very close. I think it does. I think it answers the question. I beg to think it does. Are you still there, CJ?
No, your Wi-Fi stopped there for a second.
Oh, what should you miss there?
It's a little funky, but it'll make it for a few more.
Oh,
Anyway,
it's weird.
What I was going to say was, even as your mother can tell you, I mean, we started out. Look at what was around us. There was the Rolling Stones. There was all kinds of the Beatles were all over the place.
Blues, bass, rock.
I saw the Beatles twice live. I mean,
you saw who live?
Yeah, live.
Who?
Chase Stadium in Forest, whatever it's called, the tennis place.
Who?
Me. I went to see the Beatles.
Oh, you saw the Beatles. Okay.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it was like one of these things that I didn't want to sound like them. It was like, okay, you're the Beatles. Now, you go to a place and you learn what you're not supposed to sound like. And that, from that time on, I developed my own way of playing, my own way of sounding, what I wanted to hear, what I wanted to sound like. I mean, behind this wall behind me, there's an amplifier that's about well, you know what a Marshall looks like?
Yeah, stack.
It's a stack right behind me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of stuff we used to play when we were on big stages. The stage itself that you stood on was a lattice, like grates. It wasn't a solid state when we were on the world things. So you could look through. So the amplifiers were underneath you. You didn't have to touch them.
Okay.
And the only thing that was up where you were was the main head. That you could, whatever the sound was.
So you could control
everything else came up from underneath. It was mic'd. So of course, hey, we had it was what they called a clean stage.
Right.
And it was so cool because you could go anywhere. That's when let me say, they first began using wireless stuff. Our guitars were not wireless, but our mics were at the time. And if you turned around too fast, you could get an antenna up somebody's nose. Bam! That was pretty funny. But, that's then and now is now. And, every single time, and I could see it in your face when I was live. That's why I looked at the thing a few times, because I'm going way past the music when I look at a video. But you're having a great time. You're thinking while you're standing there. There's things going through your head.
Yeah.
A billion times, things a second. You can see it. You don't see it in a lot of the videos that you see out there. That's what caught my eye.
That's really interesting you say that, because I was actually hoping that wasn't so obvious, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. And the things that I'm thinking is, because it's my first time making a music video and lip syncing to it, is like, am I doing this right? And also trying to because we did that.
You have to understand though, normal people are not going to see what I saw.
Cool.
We would have had to do it as long as Mom and I have been doing these things. Now we notice things because we've done them.
Well, I hope they don't notice the discomfort, because we did that whole thing you heard in less than 48 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not normal. You normally have time to listen to the recording and learn it and study it. I didn't have that kind of time. There's a lot of edits. There's a lot of cuts. And that's why it looks the way it does. So, yeah.
Our first one that we did, and it had everything. I mean, I'll send you a copy.
Yeah.
In fact, I have the Tokyo copy. It's the sound check.
In Tokyo.
I'll send you in Tokyo.
Yeah, I'd like that. Send that.
With the background singers and everything.
Okay.
When we did it, we had to do everything ourselves. And of course, the budget at that time, I mean, just to make just a little recording, it was like $7,000-8,000.
Right.
And we were in full-blown, studios.
Right.
It was a place that we used to call, in the same building, it's called the Hangar. It was an actual, like a warehouse, like 40-foot ceilings and the whole thing. That's where the drummer was. You got to hear the drums. On this
one. I bet the acoustics are many. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable. Yeah. And the studio where we were, the arena was so big, it was basically the same thing, because there was no place to soak up the sound. But of course, when there were bodies there, you didn't hear any sound. So.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, because they absorb the sound. People don't realize that a lot.
Oh yeah. Gets really, really bad. I mean, they say, "Oh, it was too loud." Yeah, well, you got to be standing behind everything and see what you hear. You hear nothing. But let me see. Let me see who's on here next. Actually, Golosa. Who's LLC
Hello?
Golosa? Yes.
Hello, I can hear you.
Okay, Regina's right here. She hears you too.
Okay, this is her Aunt B.
Aunt B.
Oh, there you go.
And I had the pleasure of hearing Regina sing over Christmas when she was in Vero Beach and sang a couple of nights at a friend's bar. So that was a real treat because that was the first time I think I heard her sing live.
Oh, really?
I think
wow.
so.
Yeah. Wow.
Great entertainment.
Can I say something?
Oh, there's my sister Susie.
Hello, sis.
Hi.
I just want to say that, Bob, you know Andrea, too.
Yes, I know. Of course I know her.
Yeah. And Andrea, you know Bob.
I guess I do. From
Yes,
high school?
well,
That's right.
when I used to go over that, you were the little kids. They used to help us bring the drums out to the car.
Oh, nice kids.
I think I'm only a year a difference between Sue and I.
Well, it was
Yeah.
like big sister, little sister, one of those kind of things.
Yeah, that's true. She was
Only thing is, she's always been the big sister.
You mean bigger?
But anyway, yeah, exactly.
No, what I mean is, she's always been older than me.
Oh, there you go, Susan. When you're talking, Sue, take the phone and pull it away from your mouth.
Okay, wait a minute. I can lower the volume. Hold on. Is that better?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah, see, now there you go. Now, Andrea.
Yes.
You must remember then all the times that we used to play in people's backyards.
I have a really bad memory. I mean, I do remember Susie playing the drums. I remember a lot of things because I see pictures, because I see pictures of her. I remember Ted Mack Amateur Hour. My parents were so excited. And she was the only drummer ever in the band in our high school. So that was a women's lib movement.
Yeah, Mom, women's lib. All right.
Yeah, she was good. She was very good. And now Regina, having two musical parents, I guess that's only natural. Thank God she's got a good voice, because otherwise.
Hey, listen,
got all
you
this
guys.
Musical background, but she has an amazing voice. Amazing.
Yeah, she does.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say that. Don't beat up the woman's lib thing and that. I supported it.
No, we're saying proud of Mom for being a part of it, for sure. We didn't realize, I don't know I guess I didn't put that together for some reason. That's silly. I never put that together, that she was actually part of the women's lib movement.
She is very, very right. And with all of that, you got to figure with the history of the people that are here, that is actually what makes you who you are and what you are today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my dad also marched for civil rights in the 60s in San Francisco. Right. So I actually was talking to my producer about that recently, that I was wondering if I should do more conscious music, focusing on some of the political issues that I'm concerned about, because most of the time when artists, but those are famous artists, when famous artists start talking about political issues they care about, you never hear from them again.
Yeah, I was just going to say that sometimes that when you play in that sandbox, you got to be very, very, very careful you don't get sand up your nose.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that whole thing with the Dixie Chicks, poor Dixie Chicks.
Exactly. I mean, you're. I mean, there's a billion things out there.
Well, I have a new original song I wrote that is subtle, so we'll see how that goes. That should be out within the next couple months.
You know what you can do? and at one of the songs that I had a long time ago, you can hint.
You can what?
Oh,
Sorry.
Hint. You don't have to.
Yeah, the words can be I don't know what the actual word is, but when something not anonymous, not synonymous, but sort of ambiguous. Yeah, maybe
that'll work. That'll work. All right, ladies, do you get that over there, Andrea and Mom?
Yep.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not the word we're telling Regina what to do. She's going to tell us what to do one of these days.
Yeah.
She's very, very strong in the
What do you mean one of these days?
Yeah, I'm already a little bossy.
There we go.
Pretty bossy. Sorry. Love you both very much. I try not to be. Last time I was here, I try not to be. It just comes out. I think it's
Well,
let me
tell
bring
someone else what to do.
let me bring someone else in that in. Girls, just hang out there in the background for a bit. The last name is Pena, P-E-N-A. Who's on the line?
Hey, this is Jerry.
Jerry.
Pina, yeah.
Yeah,
Jerry. Jerry.
Jerry, hang up for a second. Now I'm going to let her comment. Her Wi-Fi is going a little Wi-Fi-y.
Oh man.
There you go. Hey, don't feel bad. I was watching the news net the other day, and that they lost one guest after the next. So,
okay. Hey. Well,
Jerry, do you have a question?
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, okay.
I'm just waiting for her Wi-Fi to.
What I was saying. Hello.
Okay, I hear
you.
Whatever you're on.
Is an award winning.
Yeah, whatever you're on, Regina, just turn it a little bit.
How's that?
Yeah, it's the Wi-Fi.
We were doing so good. I don't know what happened.
No.
How's that?
There you go. All of a sudden now it's coming back. Wi-Fi is Wi-Fi. It is what it is.
I've had no break in you at all. No break from you at all.
No,
Jerry
not.
is award winning. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Jerry is a award winning mixing and mastering engineer. He's mixed for a lot of Sony Latins artists, including like Anuel and Bad Bunny. And those are big pop stars right now. And he's also probably one of the best human beings I know. So it's nice to hear from him.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. I should ask him for some tips.
Sure. I don't, on the music or being the best person I know.
I'm all ears, Bob.
There you go. Well, we're in the production business, and a lot of times that what we work for here. I mean, I wish that I could work on something that was right in front of my nose. It's a lot easier to mix and everything else that when you can see and hear something. But when we do shows here, we do them like, for instance, the other night I had somebody in from around the world, and another person in Boston. So I mean, it was like whoa. So and then she's right now. Regina's in Miami, and it's in the same state. So go figure.
Yeah. How are we on connection? Are we good? Are we back?
Good.
All right, cool. I'm here. I'm good. Ready to rock.
I'm listening to the show. I'm driving from Miami. Just woke up, got in the car and driving. I had a late studio session, so I put it in my calendar. Logged into the TuneIn app, and you guys are touching on some, serious topics of everything that's going on right now, and I love it. I think having Bill Regina's dad on the show was very informative. And I was more curious about your thoughts, Bob, on, where the industry is now as far as talent and, the overly produced and overly, we call it in the studio where it's makeup for singers where, they make them sound so good and the production is just, everything's over the top. But it's like, when does it end? When are we going to get acoustic, real music? What are your thoughts on that?
You know what? You're hitting exactly what I hit before, right on the head. I mean, it's when you're, for instance, and I'll give you a for instance, her video that she has. That's the clearest you're going to get to real in the whole industry. When people go into, let's face it, when you go into the studio and that the toys, I'm telling you, I can have a party. I'm serious. I mean, I can make you sound like anything someone wants you to sound like. But can I do that when you're live?
Right.
That's where you, Regina, have it all beat up. You sound like you live.
Thank you, Bob.
And that's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only thing that me personally I use on a little bit of voice in that is a little bitty tweak of reverb.
Oh, you want more? You said?
No. I said a little tweak. For instance, I'll show you what it is. If you had a voice going, about here is what it sounds like. You really can't hear it until I stop.
Yeah, of course. Or delay. Sure.
Yeah. It just fills out. It's like surround sound when you do it. Now, you add music to that, you won't even notice it. But that's the only toy that I can figure on playing with instead of like choruses and all this other kind of stuff. I mean, seriously, when we made our recording, we did everything ourselves. Yes, it was cut in. And when we were on stage, we had real background singers. We weren't singing the background. But every single thing was live. It was real.
Yeah.
It was, like when we did, people used to say when our band used to go out, it was like putting the record needle on the record. Of course it did, because we didn't have any help.
Yeah.
It was all us. So yeah, what you heard on the record is exactly what you heard when we went out live.
Right.
So what do you think about that, Joe?
Yeah, I agree. It's soon we're going to. It seems like we're going to have virtual talent where it's all animated or something. I don't know.
I've actually seen that.
Yeah.
You can select an avatar that performs for you.
Wow, look at that.
I know. I don't know how the singing aspect works of it. I don't know if you as the gamer sings as the avatar or what, but it's a 3D. 3D, is that the right word? I sound old with the glasses.
You're in the right ballpark.
Yeah.
You had a question.
Yeah, I have a question for Regina. With everything you've been through and up to this point, what's next for you? And I have two questions, actually. That's the first question. And then the second question is, what is the best thing about the industry that you're in, and what is the worst?
So that's three things. The first one is, where are we going? Where am I going? I am focusing on building a digital following at the moment. I feel that there's power in numbers. We see things in the media and news about influencers, which has become a dirty word, but there is power in fans and building legit, real fans. So the next thing is releasing more music. The plan is to release a new song going forward every month this year. I don't know when we're going to start that. Probably next month is how it feels. I've been working with people I meet on Instagram a lot. One is Christopher Malkus. I speak about him because I like his energy and I like what he's doing, and I like that he's doing the LA thing, which I can relate to being a native Californian. So I find people that I think have the right attitude first, then I am attracted to how well they can market themselves. So we can work together to reach more people. Because right now the goal is to reach as many people as possible with what we have, since there's not any live gigs. In the spring and summer and winter of next year, I will be traveling and doing live gigs. And probably early spring of next year, with the music catalog I'm developing, I am working with a couple dance fitness instructors to put out some type of interactive dance, hip-hop based, Zumba based dance workout, so that playlist of songs is accessible through the workouts and also on major streaming platforms. The other thing you asked me was, based on all I've been through, what is my favorite thing and what is my least favorite thing? I will answer the least favorite first, the inconsistency of the business. My favorite thing is performing live and feeding off of a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
There it is.
There you go. There you
I
go.
answered all three.
There you go. Now,
thanks for asking.
And that is when you got a crowd and that's yelling for you.
Yeah.
All right.
I like it.
That is the best drug in the world.
I'd love to do a festival. I still haven't done any of my own as my own band. You know, the Regina Martin band. I'd love to do a festival. That's the big dream for me. You were talking about 50,000 people. I've never played for 50,000 people at one time. That's a huge dream.
Yeah, but it's fun though.
Well, yeah,
I can't think of anything until I did it. When I did it, then it was all of a sudden like, oh, like it took days to get it out of my system, because the high that you got from those people. I mean, back then they had lighters, not telephones. So you got lighting lighters, and it's like you're going, okay, who's setting who on fire, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was funny because some of the places that we used to do, they had like sections where there were like tables, like real tables, like those big long like picnic type tables, but like the really high class ones and things.
Okay. Okay.
You look at a couple of hundred people standing on tables.
Oh, cool.
Standing on tables with their hand, they go like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, and it makes you work harder.
Yeah. Sure.
You don't realize it. I'm serious. When we used to come off of the stage and go back to our rooms, wherever we were going and stuff, you could drop to sleep in seconds, almost on your feet, because everything in your whole body was like
pure
going
adrenaline.
100 million times a while. Yeah. And it was unbelievable. So this is what you have to look forward to, is that type of unbelievable feeling that you did a good job. And you really, really do. I'm serious. I mean, we used to come back and we used to just look at each other and go, wow. And of course, my one guitar player that I had, which was, he was unbelievable. I mean, the guy was, any guitar player out there, and I don't care who or what he plays and how he plays it, the guitar player that I had as my lead guitar player could do and sound exactly like that artist. Mm-hmm. I mean, exactly. Standing on a stage, he could just take. He had like 4 or 5 different amps, and every single one of them was specifically designed for him. So every single one of them was different, and he could definitely sound like everybody. Van Halen, forget about it. He could run rings around Van Halen. Because he used to play with all 4 fingers, not just one.
Yeah, I had a guitarist that went back to Australia recently, and I feel that way about him too. He could play anything, but he also did it in his own voice, and it was very special. And I'm gonna miss him a lot, and I hope he comes back soon. So. Yeah.
Now, let me just follow up here, Annette, because we have to skedaddle.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, can I ask Susie a question before I go?
Of course.
Susie, I saw the Ted Mack video, and my question is, were you nervous backstage, and what was that like?
Yeah, and how did you deal with it? How do you deal with nerves, Mom?
It's funny you should say that, because all day long. We didn't do the show until nighttime, but all morning long we were like rehearsing or whatever for the show, right? And then everybody said, "Let's go eat. I'm starved." And I couldn't eat a thing, right? I was so nervous, okay? And they kept saying, "You got to eat something." And I said, "No, I can't." So anyway, the show came, and it was like I counted off, and next thing I know, we were into the song, and it was "Birthday" by the Beatles. I don't know if you remember, Bob.
Oh yeah.
It was shown all over. It was national TV, and all of Saddlebrook watched it. But anyway, my dad said that was the sign of a true performer. Anybody who's like nervous like that, but when they get on stage, my dad, he always believed in me, and he always said to me, "Keep singing and playing, Sue, because somebody's going to hear you," and that's how I feel about my kid. Regina, keep singing and playing, because someday someone is going to hear you, okay?
All right, Ma. All right, Ma.
Yeah. No, I'm serious, because this
thank you to people like Bob, too, that makes us...
being on the Bob Charles show,
What's that, Ma?
I said this opened many doors for you being on this.
Yeah,
thank you, Bob Charles show.
Yeah, I was just saying that to Bob. Thank you for giving an indie artist, giving us a platform to reach more people, for sure.
Let me just add something, because you had it on here, and that Brenda Lee. Okay. Now, I mean, I didn't meet her, but I was in the same area as she was one time, and that's so I could kind of feel her. I mean,
yeah,
she's kind of that kind of a
4'2", and yet you can feel her a mile away.
That's right.
Yeah.
And she said, "Kid, you're going places." She was not kidding. That woman will not goof with anybody.
Yeah.
In fact, if you turned around and said, no, I'm not going anywhere, she would have beat you up.
There was a friend of mine who knew Brenda Lee, like, how you say when you cross your fingers like that,
yep.
Okay? And so he introduced me to Brenda. And then Regina was with me, and we went back in her dressing room, and she sang "Over the Rainbow" for her.
Gorgeous.
And she was very impressed. And I told Brenda, you have been my idol since I was so high. I said, I do a lot of your music. I try to imitate you. And people used to tell me I sounded like Brenda when I sang "Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree" and all those songs she did, "All Alone Am I" and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do a lot of Brenda Lee because she was my idol, And then I'm sorry, Bob. You were talking about, like, with Regina, how she changes the music today. And you're right, that's the thing today. But if you remember, in our day, we had to come as close to the record as possible to be any good.
That's right.
Remember that?
Well, that was because, see, now, wait a minute. When my further time in the music, what you're saying is absolutely 100% correct, because back then you had to be like, you had to sound like, you had to sing like, you had to speak like the person that they heard on the radio. Now, not too far after that, about 10 years later on that thing, people were into, all of this stuff, and that there was, let me see if I could do, some of the bands that were out then were in an area where you didn't have to sound like anybody, and nobody sounded like anybody else. The only one that I
Mhm.
respected out of the whole lot of them and everything was Police. Because Police did exactly, we used to do Police songs.
Oh, which ones do you guys do? Because that ain't no easy thing.
Synchronicity.
People think that Police songs, they think the Police is a great, great band, and they have songs that feel like they're, in five, in a 5/4 time, but they're actually regular time, 4/4. And what I really like about listening to Police is not listening to the signature melodies, the signature choruses, but what they start doing when they go off and they start doing their jam band thing at the end of the tunes, at the end of the recording. That's when you really get to know what they really, did and who they are. Because I can hear, everything you done.
Right.
And it's a great tune, but we've heard it so many times. So it's cool to hear that like 2 minutes at the end where they're doing their own sort of jazz vibe, where they've gone completely where they want to go.
We did Synchronicity 1 and 2.
Okay, wow.
And I mean, we were a four-piece band.
Yeah.
I mean, we had keyboards then when we went on the road, but other than we were just guitar, rhythm guitar. I mean, lead, rhythm guitar, bass, and drums. And
we would pick songs. I can't remember what they were, but we would pick songs that were a little bit more obscure too, that were not as big hits, and do them with the jam band at New York Beer Company. And people would go, "Oh, what song? I love this. Is this your song?" They thought it was an original. They pick songs that are not quite as known and do them really well, like the record, and people don't even realize that they were the Police or a major band. Yeah, so that's a big thing too.
So listen, anybody that's on the phone over there that wants to say anything to Regina before we hang up.
Yes.
Is my friend Paul Cuffari on? He was trying to call in several times.
Paul, are you on?
I'm on. I can hear you guys. I've been listening. I heard the rendition of "Sweet Child of Mine."
All right, so you were here.
Oh, I just got on. I was listening through my.
Oh my goodness. Oh, and we're just going off. You just got on and we're going off. So anyway.
Oh, no sweat.
I tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. There will be a copy of this in YouTube.
Paul, I'm sorry, man. Paul is so amazing too. Paul plays with Wallace Roney. Maybe next time we can get him to talk a little music business with us. Then, if we do this again,
you can do that. You just get in touch with everybody. That we'll get together again. Why not?
Paul is special. He's a touring musician, so it's always good to have another perspective for sure.
Former touring musician.
Right, Paul. Right, right. Former touring musician.
Is that because of the virus or not?
Yeah. I mean, everything pretty much shut down.
Yeah, well,
we actually lost Wallace. We lost Wallace Roney. We lost him to COVID early on March 30th of 2020.
What? I didn't even hear that. Are you kidding? He's gone?
Yeah. No.
Oh my God, Paul! I didn't even know that. Holy cow!
No, it was a shock. It was a shock to everybody, and it came on pretty early. And so we
wow. Yeah. Well,
hear that.
Chick Corea was a shock too, but I didn't know. I feel it. Wow. Thank you for letting me know that. That's amazing. And I got to see Wallace many times in New York and talk with him, and he was such a down to earth, good human being. And he gave people, a shot. So.
Yeah, he told me things in my short time with him that I'll be thinking about for the rest of my life. So.
Yeah.
Well,
a little bit. Go ahead, Bob. Sorry.
No, I was going to say that what we have to do is we can pick this up at another time.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I really, really would. I mean, you're in Miami now. You're obviously going to not be in Miami all the time. You're going back to New York. You're going to be doing things in New York. Well, I want to know about them.
All right.
What they're doing or anything else. If somebody wants to bring if you're playing in a club or something like that and somebody wants to record it on a cell phone or they want to go on Skype and turn it around, I can put you live on the thing. I can put you live on here.
Oh, man, that sounds great. Right on.
We've done unbelievable things. It's the most craziest things you've ever thought about in radio business. We've done them.
Cool.
So, Everybody that's on the phone, Nat, thank you very much for calling in. Mom, we gotta talk. You know what I mean? We gotta talk.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We gotta talk.
Thanks for having me on, Bob. I appreciate it.
What are you kidding? This is hey, anytime. Hey, this
Okay.
girl. I want to tell Regina. Shh. this babe over here. She was the best lady in my life. She really, really was. From the very, very beginning. We knew each other. We
Mine too.
traveled.
Mine
We
too.
traveled all over the place and everything. And that our music was so unbelievable. I tell and have told bands that I was in later, plus the last one that was together for almost 13 years, and that in that band about what she did.
Yeah.
So you can imagine. Now that was a span of about 30 years
Okay.
by itself, telling people about. And I just, by the way, there are people that are listening right now on TuneIn that I talked to today, and they said, "You got to be kidding me." I said, "No, my original drummer is going to be on the phone tonight," and they said, "She's still alive?"
Yes, she is.
I said,
Matter of fact, when Regina comes out here where I am, she sits in different clubs here, and yours truly gets to back her up on the drums on Aretha Franklin.
Yeah, Mom kills it. She's really, really good.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And at the same
Yeah,
time,
so
and the same thing I was going to say, and that if either one of us was gone, the other one would still hear from us.
Yeah.
So,
I like that.
especially your mother. Your mother was the kind of person that would she had an attitude sometimes that was unbelievable. The most beautiful thing. I mean, maybe she'd be a little rough, in the beginning, and later on that you'd say, she was right.
Yeah.
Or something.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the way we were. Maybe the area that we were blocks from each other, and had lived and born, for that thing. So I mean, hey, that's just where we came from. And it's funny that this many years later, we're talking, and it's like we know each other for our whole lives, and we do. That never lost. That was never lost.
no, it'll never be lost. Never be. You were always looking out for me whenever we were playing clubs and everything, and you warned me about my first husband, and I should have listened, but I didn't.
But they also say, and it's in the Bible too, you have to make a mistake to know what's correct.
Yeah.
Really?
People seem to forget about that passage of the Bible.
Well,
There you go.
some. Yeah.
Yep, she's calling me a big brother all the time. And my mother, who is passed, my mother used to say, "She's good," because she and my mother used to get along very well. So
I remember we'd be practicing in your basement, and your mom would yell down the stairs, "That was so good, Bobby!" And I said, "Oh, I'm glad she liked it," but I had no idea back then that your mom was who she was. I wish I'd known back then.
Oh yeah.
But
But I think it's
me. Go ahead.
The pious something choir. I'll look it up, and I'll get it. I remember before, huh?
I said, please do. I'd like to see or read some of that. Yeah.
Yeah, my mother was, as I said, the Pieta was the statue that was in the World's Fair, and the music was my mother's band, and that music was an album that was made of them.
Wow.
And it took me about 3 or 4 years. I finally found a friar in Chicago who was one of the persons that had something to do with the archives, the Catholic archives. And he found a copy of the record, and a nun had to go and get it and everything else. And she had to ship it to him, and then he shipped it to me, and then I gave it to my mother for her birthday.
Oh, cool.
And she sat and cried. She sat and cried for about an hour.
Similarly, I had to contact one of the original producers on the Ted Mack show to get a copy for my mom's Christmas present, like 5-6 years back, so she could have a copy of her performance on Ted Mack, because they have it in the Library of Congress, and the only way you can get a copy is through that producer. So, pretty
so
funny.
I know what that one's like. So
you do. Yeah.
Been a great show. Regina, thank you very much for being my guest on the show. It's been an honor speaking to you. I mean, I'm look back at art history and music's history and singers' history and things. There are so many greats out there, and it seems you seem to be pushing them aside a little bit to get your own great out there. And it's really, really good. It's there. It's blooming. So it's doing really, 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 really good.
Really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
With that, everybody over there, say goodnight. There you go. And we're out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Pyramid One Radio on the Bob Charles Show. The person that's been with me all night, the best person in the music business right now, someone who you should look at, somebody who you should know is around, Regina Martin. If you want any information about her, or you want a copy of that song that we played on this show, or a copy of the video, write to bobcharlesshow@live.com. When you write, I will send you a copy of that video. Till then, God bless y'all. Bob Charles.